Hi and welcome everyone to today's SAP community call. My name is Minina Chao and I'm part of the SAP community team, your host today. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes. As always, feel welcome to ask your questions anytime, post them in the Q&A area. We'll definitely get enough time at the end of the call to address your questions. Also, you will have the chance to unmute yourself later on. And that's it. Use the chat for interaction. Well, let's get started with the call. As you see, you're here listening in about how SAP Business Technology Platform becomes the platform of choice for the intelligent enterprise. And with me is Florian Kunske. He is a platform strategist and senior product specialist for SAP Business Technology Platform. And I think I don't really want to take too much time ahead since there's a lot of content that you want to share, Florian. So welcome on this SAP community call. The floor or screen is yours.
Thanks so much, Menina, and thanks for having me. I just recalled the title of the session again, and it's a pretty lengthy title, I have to admit. What we want to cover today really is, or what we want to achieve today is really giving you an overview of what SAP's platform strategy looks like, where we are headed into the future, and also what our current offering for BTP, for the SAP Business Technology Platform looks like, and give you an understanding also what are kind of the customer challenges that we are hoping to solve with SAP BTP, but also how we take our ecosystem along that journey. And that's basically the reason why I'm here for. As Menina said, my name is Florian. I work in the product strategy team of our technology and innovation board area here at SAP. And we are really responsible for defining and also for evolving our platform strategy, but also like selectively really triggering the execution of that strategy. It is a long-term strategy, so everything you hear about how we want to move ahead with BTP is a little bit future-looking. Of course, not everything is already available or achieved today, but as with the transformation of our customers, of our partners, that is a journey on which we hope to take you along and hope to take you with us. So having that said, of course, we will have some time at the end also to respond to your questions, but I would just give it a try and start with what we have on the agenda today. And let's take a look at the next slide, which I hope to be able to open. Yes. So what we want to cover today is really, it's a twofold thing. So really looking at what is SAP's platform strategy in a nutshell, right? We will not be able to go into any detail, but really on a high level, how does the platform fit to our corporate strategy here at SAP? What do we want to achieve with the platform, and what are the aspired qualities that we want our platform to have? And then in kind of a second phase, let's talk about what is the value proposition really of the platform and how does our current offering looks like. Why do I say that and why is that different? Because really the one thing is the strategy, what we want to achieve, our long-term ambition with the strategy, with the business technology platform, and then really what's already available for you today, what's our current offering in the market. And then we can really try to answer your questions. As I learned, it will not be really a discussion, but we are trying to address all your questions then. So with that, let's go into the first phase of this presentation. And when I want to talk about SAP's strategy and what the role of the platform looks like, I will always bring up that picture here because it is a pretty good depiction of what we as SAP want to achieve in the future. How does our long-term strategy look like? Internally, by the way, we refer to that graphic as the burger diagram, but I think many of you have already seen this. If not, let me give you a little bit of more detail what this picture here entails really. So as you know, really SAP is an application company, right? And everything we do on the product side, on the application side, we refer to as the Intelligence Suite. So everything that you can see here in the middle, all our applications, be it S4, be it SuccessFactors, Concur, We refer to those applications as the Intelligence Suite. These are not only like point solutions which help address a specific business purpose, but we really want to make it integrated so that you can run your processes really in an end-to-end fashion, not really, needing to care which application you are actually running, because it feels unified and you don't have friction at the intersection of different applications. So that's what we want to offer with the Intelligence Suite. Next to it, you have the Industry Cloud. The Industry Cloud is an effort driven by SAP and of course our many partners, where we want to, in addition to the standard applications that we offer, build new vertical industry-specific solutions, for example, for retail or for automotive. And here we really take our partners along, but also our customers, organizing them also in consortia and understanding what are the very industry-specific requirements that we need to fulfill, and what such industry-specific solutions really need to achieve, need to be able to offer to our customers. So this belongs together. Around this, you have experience management and sustainability management components. Experience management, of course, driven by our Qualtrics acquisition a couple of years back, where we really say, okay, along these different process steps that we hope to cover with our applications, you always want to know how can you make a process better, how can you make a product better. And in that regard, we are collecting this feedback, or allowing our customers to collect that feedback continuously and on a qualitative and quantitative basis, leveraging our Qualtrics experience management solutions. In addition to that, sustainability is a key differentiator these days. And as we, as SAP, try to enable our customers to run their business end to end, we also think it makes absolute sense to make our customers aware and enable them to measure and optimize their ecological footprint that they are making along their processes, with their supply chains, with all of their different business dimensions. On top of that, you see business process intelligence. That is something that is also fueled by the acquisition that we made a couple of months back with Signavio, but also with our very own business process insight solutions, where we say, okay, if we help our customers run their processes, we should also be able to help them optimize them. And so, based on real system data, based on system logs, we enable them to understand where they have inefficiencies in their processes. And not only that, we give them this transparency, but we also give them tools at hand to drive the improvement of this business process or these business processes. On top of all that sits what we refer to as the business network, where we really want to bring our different customers together, different customer groups which might have similar interests, but also our partners, and enable these collaborations. Because what is that specifically in this very interdependent world that we have today, you cannot just operate in your company silo anymore. You need to come together in consortia. You need to come together with different companies to orchestrate your supply chains and all of that. And many of these processes are also, are run by SAP or run on SAP systems. And so we invest a great deal in bringing these companies together in business networks. And then really, let's come to the most important or most relevant piece for today, which is the business technology platform. And the business technology platform is basically the technology foundation for all of that. So the business technology platform is basically intending to harmonize our technology internally. So we really want to enable internally our applications to be built on one rock solid foundation, but it also empowers our ecosystem to build new applications, to build new extensions and content with the help of the business technology platform. And of course, there's also a kind of an infrastructure abstraction layer that's part of the BTP, because we want to enable also our customers to run their workloads wherever they want, be it in SAP data centers or be it in the public cloud, for example. So that is on a high level our company strategy and how the business technology platform fits into that. Now, before we go into like very specific services or what kind of portfolio the business technology platform covers, I always feel it's very important to make yourself aware again, what is it actually that we're talking about when we talk about a platform? Because a platform is very often used in today's climate, but it's also very ambiguous. And I often encounter people who have very different interpretations of what a platform is. So let's look a little bit into that, and also, let's take a look at what SAP really wants to achieve with the business technology platform. So generally speaking, there's a notion of a platform which you can consider as a developer platform that really provides developers the tools they need to build software. APIs, runtime, different development services, all of that. That is really like builder focus, and again gives developers the tools to build software. Typically, this kind of platform has no relationship with the end consumer of that application in the end. So if you consider, for example, Amazon Web Services being a developer platform, Amazon Web Service doesn't really care what you build with their development tools, with their PaaS offering. So that's why, there is no real relationship between AWS and the end consumer that you're building your application for. So that's the kind of very classical IT related definition of a platform. Then there's another phenomenon which we also refer to as a platform, and which is that marketplace that has really emerged or has really gotten absolute relevance as a business model, as a platform business model. What do we mean by that? A marketplace platform really is there to connect producers and consumers. So what it does, it acquires and matches and connects different consumer groups. What do I mean by that? So if you take as an example, Uber, right? They are heavily facilitating the transactions and interactions between drivers, who want to earn money by driving people around, and then people who just need to get from A to B. So if you think back what you needed to do before you had Uber, for example, you needed to find out what is the telephone number of a taxi. You needed to arrange the call. You needed to let the taxi driver know where you want to be picked up. You needed to talk about where you want to get to actually. Oh, is it that street? No, I don't know that street really, but it's close to this and that. All this hassle that was still the case before we had Uber. And even the payment then, oh, I don't have enough cash with me, so how do I pay now? A credit card, I don't take that. All of that is massively facilitated by Uber as a platform, really bringing these different groups together. And then the platform is solely there to orchestrate these transactions and again, facilitate these different transactions and interactions between the two customer groups. So Uber itself doesn't really provide the service, being a ride from A to B, but helps orchestrate everything around. So it's lowering the transaction costs and creates network effects between these two different groups. And the first one is very different from the second one. Nevertheless, both phenomena are coming together in a way. So the industry refers to the kind of merger or combination between both platform notions as a product extension platform. Now, what is that? So if you consider a product extension platform, the platform orchestrator typically is a company that has started out with a digital product, with digital service or product. So let's take Shopify, for example, right? They have started out with their digital product, and then they have started to enable also their ecosystem to contribute to that product, to make it better, to offer innovation that's coming from the third party, and with the ultimate result that the customer gets even more innovation, and it doesn't get that only from Shopify as a company, but from the entire ecosystem that they have built around this. So what they have done is they are exposing also developer tools for the ecosystem to build easier surrounding their core product. And then they have kind of a marketplace where these contributors, where these partners can commercialize also what they built around that Shopify central component, if you will. And that is also the direction that we want to go with the business technology platform. So we offer product-specific tooling and services for anyone to build applications, to create value from data, to build extensions around the SAP core products, and also to build new solutions and innovations. and then allow these contributors, these partners also to commercialize very easily through one digital marketplace. So that as a customer, ultimately in the future, they go to an SAP marketplace and they can, in a low-touch fashion, source SAP applications, but also content that might come from SAP or not, might come from partners. They might be able to buy entire new applications from partners as well, so that it is a unified experience for our customers in the end, but also offering innovations from our ecosystem, and that is really the way that we want to go with business technology platform. Now, what is the strategic role of the platform? I alluded to this a little bit on the first slide, but I really want to make it clear what is the benefit of BTP if you consider our corporate strategy here at SAP. So first of all, there are benefits, of course, for us as SAP as well. Through that integration that BTP enables internally and that facilitated innovation, of course, our applications get a higher value proposition. Because if you can sell not only one single application, but really a business process that's facilitated through the integration between different applications, then of course, the end result is more than the sum of its parts, and you really get a higher value proposition for the intelligence suite. What it also does, if we use the same tools in an aligned fashion internally, you create a lot of synergies and you speed up the development process internally. So we are much more efficient as SAP than in the end. What it does for our partners, well, of course, considering that we want to have that one digital marketplace in the future where all content sits, what these partners get is that they get immediate access to our entire customer base, and they can quickly really monetize their IP through this digital marketplace. Additionally, if you take the industry cloud, for example, they can basically leverage the same tooling SAP uses internally and harness the same product architecture as they build these solutions. So what you get is much more compatibility with existing SAP landscapes and applications in a much, much faster way than it was in the past. And ultimately, our customers will win, because with the help of business technology platform, they get plug and play business innovation through business services and business content that BTP provides, while they build on their existing investments that customers have made into SAP. And also, they can get access to the partner ecosystem and source additional innovation from that as well. So you see really how these different stakeholder groups are coming together as part of our platform strategy. Now, what are kind of the qualities that we envision the business technology platform to have? So we basically say it's three things. The main differentiator of our business technology platform is the business centricity that we want to provide. We are not a platform for general purpose development. There we really need to say that general purpose technology providers, again, such as platforms like AWS, but also Microsoft Azure, for example, they have much more powerful capabilities when it comes to general purpose technology and software development. Where we can win definitely, though, is with the business centricity that our platform can ultimately offer. So what do I mean by that? What are some of the kind of components of this business centricity that we envision? So first of all, we can enable our customers to get really actionable insights from any data in a decent amount of time, really. Because what you will get if you deal with data with the business technology platform, you always have these semantics. You always access the data in the business context, not only raw data, but you always know what kind of business objects, what kind of processes you are referring to if you manage your data, if you want to get insights from this data. What's also weaved into our platform is the business logic and the domain knowledge that SAP can offer, really. We have really the vastest industry and domain knowledge that that is far ahead of any other competitor or any other software vendor out there. Because SAP has been in this business for now 5 decades, and we know business processes much, much better than anyone else does. And what we do is we expose this very industry or process specific knowledge also as business services that are there to serve a specific or to solve a specific business problem already, versus just a generic technical service that others might be able to offer. We can also offer you data-driven process improvements. Now, I mentioned the business process intelligence part, and you know, if you have these insights where you have inefficiencies in your processes, what you can do directly with the tools of business technology platform is to create improvements by setting up workflows, by improving it through automation. Just take intelligent robotic process automation as one important component of the business technology platform, so that you can directly automate process steps or adjust your processes as needed. Product-specific tooling I mentioned already, and the business services, but also really the content, right? So what we are also shipping are, for example, as part of our analytics solutions, as part of the BTP, pre-built stories, and pre-built business scenarios where you get insights directly as part of your applications, for example. And also what's really top of mind here at SAP is really the built-in security. We know how important these processes are that our customers run with SAP systems. And that's why security that's built in is really a top priority for us here at SAP, and a very important part of the value proposition of our platform. But we also want to be open, right? We don't want to lock our customers in. So first of all, I mentioned that already, we give our customers choice in terms of the infrastructure where they want to deploy, and we even give them portability, you know, by having that abstraction layer as part of the business technology platform. We also want to enable interoperability with hyperscaler services, because, as I said, right, we are not the best when it comes to technical services in any sense. So we understand that our customers also want to leverage hyperscaler services and open source technology, and want to enable that interoperability really in a seamless fashion. And then, of course, you know, there are new niche applications emerging every day, which have specific purposes for companies. And so we just need that openness also on an application level, so our customers are able to integrate really quickly with third-party apps and data as well. Now, and ultimately, we want to get to a unified platform experience where the experience that you have when you use an SAP database, for example, is not much different than when you enter your app development cockpit, for example. So unifying that experience has multiple dimensions. So first of all, we also want to harmonize our commercial model. We've made great advancements there in terms of the consumption-based pricing, for example, but also we're introducing the free tier, which we've done just this year, and for which you can also expect an update by TechEd just next week. We want to give, as part of the platform experience, also a seamless access to our ecosystem. We want to enable much more simplicity and ease of use across the entire platform, with, so to say, different granularity by which, or in which you can start, develop, or work with also your data. And as I mentioned already, exposing that one architecture that we are implementing internally as well, also to the outside world. And as I mentioned, right, this is a strategy, but these are like the aspired qualities that we really see for the platform and towards which we are working in the next months and years, and have already invested, of course, a great deal in the past. Now, with that, let's really look into what of this is already existing today, because I know you guys want to get started. And so let's look into kind of the main challenges that we are addressing with BTP already today, and the solutions that we can already offer. So let's look at this again. So if we don't just look at SAP in terms of what are the applications that we offer, but in terms of what end-to-end processes can we enable, I'm sure you've seen that. There are 4 meta processes that we see. You can manage anything from lead to ultimately collecting your cash with SAP applications. You can start designing your product to ultimately operating also your operations. Of course, in the end, you can source the products and services and ultimately also pay for them. And you can manage the entire life cycle in human capital management from recruiting ultimately to retiring people. So these are like the four big end-to-end processes that SAP enables. Now, there are different challenges of digital transformation, which really have increased the urgency to adapt these processes more constantly. So while we are shipping these applications in a standardized way, every company needs to find individual responses, so to say, to their daily challenges. So what we are really seeing on a high level is, of course, that these IT landscapes at our customers are getting more and more complex. Hybrid is a reality. There are very few customers who are cloud only already today. And so what we see is that hybrid will remain a reality for many, many years still. And that is okay, right? So we want to take our customers where they are today and move together with them into the future. That's why we also invest a great deal in hybrid scenarios. But that said, let's really look into this in more depth. There are already today, at an average, a company operates more than 120 different applications, and that is an average, right? So if you look at big corporations, I'm pretty sure this number can easily go into the thousands. And so this complexity and this technical depth continues to increase inside companies. Another kind of paradoxon is that, with these different applications, what you do is, of course, you also have much more data that you need to manage or that you are getting. And then there's external data, which you might want to leverage. Just take, for example, weather data or social media data, which is important to assess the sentiment for your products in a way. Experience management is one additional option that SAP also offers. But the problem is that most of the times this data really sits in silos. And one of our studies has revealed that more than 2/3 of the companies actually fail to become insight driven. So while we collect a lot of that data, really gathering meaningful insights becomes even harder, it seems. And so ultimately, and what COVID has also painfully shown, that there's really a pressure to innovate and to act. But on the other hand, you really just have limited time to go to market, because there are companies out there which have fully embraced a digital business model, right? Which is everything is built around a digital product and a digital business model. And so they are much faster because they're also much more agile. Big companies, they are seeing a lot of challenges because they just don't have the right amount of people actually being able to work on that further digitalization of their company. And they have a lack of skills also inside their company. So that is something that they also need to address in a certain way. So all of these three challenges, like again, on a meta level, they require the constant adaptation of end-to-end processes for each company. And so the kind of major value drivers that we are seeing are somehow derived from that. We think, that integrating processes is absolute key. So we need to help our customers with that in and beyond SAP landscapes. And that goes beyond just application integration. It also comprises the data integration, also the unification of experiences across their solution portfolio. Another value driver is getting value from the data. I mentioned already the insights that you want to get out of your data, but also based on your data, you want to drive more automation. And ultimately being able to innovate quickly. And for that, you just need extensibility or the access also to the ecosystem where you can source pre-built innovation. I already tried to explain this on one of the previous slides on the strategy. Now, these are so to say our three major scenarios we cover with BTP. You have integration, you have data to value, and you have extensibility. And what our goal is, what our aspiration is. So I have no figures to back that already, but what we want to enable in the future is really that you get with SAP BTP, you get 10 times faster application development, integration, and value from data in and beyond SAP landscape. So that is really what we get up for every morning, I have to say. Even. Now let's talk a little bit about these three scenarios and what you can already expect today. So first aspect of integration is the integration of our suite. So you might have heard about SAP's integration strategy. It's part of also that webinar here. And there have been some talks about this as well. There's also the SAP Integration Strategy paper, which is continuously updated. And one of the core components of that integration strategy is shipping, so to say, a unified or joint suite qualities for our application portfolio. You can see what these suite qualities are about. You have, for example, a seamless user experience, consistent security and identity management, aligned domain models, embedded and cross-product analytics, one workflow inbox so that you don't need to access different applications anymore when you want to see what kind of workflows you need to process and what you need to do. Coordinated lifecycle management, also end-to-end process blueprints. So what has this to do now with the business technology platform? Well, the business technology platform enables actually a lot of that. So if you just take embedded and cross-product analytics, of course, we are leveraging SAP Analytics Cloud to build these analytics dashboards that we ship with our products in an integrated fashion. We use the business technology platform to align our domain models so that business objects and their attributed are expressed or articulated in a coherent way, which massively facilitates, of course, data integration, but also generally extensibility and integration. And also, in terms of security and identity management, BTP is offering some services to harmonize that as well. So this is kind of what the end users can somehow expect, but we also have one component with our SAP Integration Suite that enables developers to drive these integrations. Integration Suite is basically our main product suite, which contains different components to enable you as customers or partners drive this integration. Cloud integration, end-to-end process integration, but also managing your APIs with SAP Graph. We also have a harmonized API layer for the entire SAP landscape, but also, for example, an integration advisor for you to know what the next steps should be. And also what we can offer are pre-built, pre-packaged integration flows and also open connectors to third-party solutions that really make it easy just to connect applications and stitch these processes together. By the way, Integration Suite has again been named as a leader for enterprise integration platform as a service offerings by Gartner. So really one of the main solutions that BTP can offer that's also leading in the market already. Now let's talk about data to value for a second. What we think ultimately creates value from data is basically composed out of three different dimensions. First of all, you need to be able to manage high volume of data. Then you need to be able to get quality out of that data. So it's not only raw data, but it's actually in context already, and that it allows you to also create meaningful data models to get more value out of that. And then ultimately the usage, which is for us really getting these insights. And for that, we have different products in the cloud that we see as kind of the go-to solutions of SAP Business Technology Platform. So HANA, I think, is a no-brainer. Everybody knows SAP HANA. And so this is really our prime database also in the cloud moving forward. We have SAP Data Warehouse Cloud and SAP Data Intelligence Cloud, which help you, build these data models, but also build the pipelines and so on. And ultimately, SAP Analytics Cloud for you to build dashboards, to create stories, allowing you to get insights, but also to do planning, right? Planning continues to be a big topic for SAP, and we want to enable like integrated business planning really, which goes beyond just financials, but where you can also plan your supply chains, for example, where you can do workforce planning and so on, including, of course, some predictive capabilities that allow you to assess what happens if I do the following. And all of that, all of these different kind of pillars are important by themselves. But in combination, this is really how the value comes together. And SAP offers services in all of these dimensions and is even unifying this portfolio for their data and analytics solution set. And now ultimately, what are we doing in terms of extensibility? Of course, we want to enable application development. We've done that in the past with our previous brand for application development, which was SAP Cloud Platform. I'm sure still of you are still familiar with that, offering development services in a way. But we have now, really put a big focus on that trend of low-code and no-code application development. SAP has made another acquisition with SAP AppGyver, which is intending to also enable citizen developers, as we call them, or maybe even in the future business users, to be able to build really simple apps, because you don't need to know much about coding anymore, as you can use these graphical user interfaces to shift components, to stitch components together, and really in a very intuitive way build your applications. We also put, low code was of course also an important focus in that regard. With SAP Business Application Studio, we are also enabling low-code application development so that you can yourself decide in which granularity you need to go to be able to code your application. So that is about the development as part of that extension suite. Then you have process automation capabilities. So SAP, as I mentioned already, has different technology capabilities such as an intelligent robotic process automation. So using software robots to automate your processes, but also solutions such as SAP Workflow Management. And we are really bringing these different solutions closer together to get to a unified experience for how you automate your processes. Also here, I can only recommend to attend TechEd next week, because I assume there might be some news around these solutions next week. And in addition to that, as kind of the third piece to this, we want to enable unified user engagement for how our customers can really engage with the different applications from SAP they might have, and also with the content in that. And examples here are SAP Launchpad or also SAP Workzone. So it's about development, it's about automation, but also ultimately also about content consumption in a unified fashion. So yeah, I also want to give you a brief outlook. So what you can expect also in these three buckets. And I have to mention here that this is of course not a commitment, but this is just an outlook, what you can expect, what we are working towards really as SAP to further pursue that strategy that I presented in the beginning. So again, this materialization of these suite qualities is really key for SAP, and we are making great progress on that suite integration. But also we will offer you an ever-growing set of integration packs for SAP and non-SAP solutions, including, by the way, also content from partners. So we are really also leveraging our partner ecosystem to create these pre-built integrations. And of course, by facilitating the adoption of the domain model, what you can really expect is simplified data integration. Not only that, really by coherent business objects in SAP systems. In the data to value aspect, what we are looking into is also the consumption of third-party data already. So there is a feature, for example, in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, which is a data marketplace, allowing you also today already to consume third-party data products, which might be relevant to get insights or to assess where you stand with your business more holistically. But also, as I mentioned, holistic business planning with SAP Analytics Cloud, for example. What you will also experience more and more is the cross-product analytics that are already embedded in our solutions. We are making great progress on that end as well, and you can expect definitely cool new features and updates in the next months. And also bringing our data and analytics solutions much closer together. So what we are really working towards internally at the moment is unifying that data and analytics layer, bringing these capabilities of these different products really closer together. And then ultimately in the extensibility space, what we want to have is really a robust multi-persona experience. We want to give also cloud native developers, of course, the tools that they need to build in and around SAP applications. We are focusing a lot on the business application developer that has, in most of the times, vast process knowledge and really just needs to get the job done in the end, and for that might not need to go into the depth of the technicality anymore, but needs some sort of abstraction layer as well. And as these IT departments are becoming more and more the bottleneck, as we also saw when we looked at the challenges, putting an increased focus on low code and no code development is something that's continuing to be very important for us here at SAP. If you look at AI, you will experience embedded AI more and more in our applications. So wherever we can, we use AI internally to automate processes, to make intelligent recommendations as part of our application experience. But also as part of the business technology platform, we offer you AI business services. We are not offering generic AI, no generic ML services, but really creating kind of an abstraction where we use AI to solve very specific business problems, and that you will see much more often from SAP and as part of BTP in the future. As I mentioned, business process intelligence is a big strategic priority for SAP, so that data-driven and intelligent process improvement and automation continues to be a focus topic for BTP. And as I mentioned, we want to be a product extension platform. And so for that reason, that one digital marketplace where basically all content from SAP and the partners really sits, it will be a focus topic for us. So we are hoping to make also the next steps on that dimension. Yeah, and with that, I think I'm already through my presentation, but as we will probably not be able to cover this with any detail, I also want to give you some links, some further references, which you can really dive deeper into. So first of all, we do have an external SAP BTP strategy paper that tells you a little bit more about the things I just talked through very briefly, so that you can also read it and try to understand it even better if you need to. Highly recommend it. What you can also do is, start with BTP use cases. We are shifting away, as I said, from that very technical service-oriented platform view to a more use case and a more outcome-oriented platform. So we are focusing on actionable use cases that can be repeated, where you get insights, where you get additional support, where you get also code that can be deployed right away. So check out our SAP Discovery Center and one of the, or different of the more of 240 missions that we have available in Discovery Center as of today. And as I mentioned, and this is, I think, a highly relevant recommendation, join SAP Tech Ed next week. It will give you a good overview of where we stand. Of course, you can also expect some announcements around business technology platform. So with that, I talked a lot. I just need a sip of water now, I think. Menina, maybe I just give it back to you for the second.
Yeah, thank you, Florian. Very great to have you here with the presentation. I also posted some links to the chat to SAP Tech Ed, all the sessions, the content tracks, and the use cases that you mentioned. I think we have some questions already, so whenever you're ready, we can definitely dive into them. Let's see what we have. Okay, should we start from the top, Florian? Is that okay for you?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay, so there was one question from Sebastian. Thanks for your question. What is the licensing agreement for partners to provide industry cloud solutions? Is it still ePaaS?
Oh, that is indeed a good question, which I might not be able to answer. I'm not too deep into the licensing agreements there, so I need to defer to a colleague there. But Sebastian, that's absolutely something that we can find out and follow up with you on that one.
Cool. Okay, yeah. I sent an a note here. We'll follow up offline. Okay, let's move on with the next one. How does foundation plane, data plane, application plane fit into the intelligent enterprise strategy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need to let me try to explain the context here a little bit better. So foundation plane, data plane, and application plane are basically concepts that we mainly used internally to describe the different components of the business technology platform. Externally, we rather want to talk about the value that we want to create. So really integration, data to value, extensibility, and innovation. But internally, we also structured our services or our platform in that regard. So as part of the foundation plane, for example, you do have integration and security components, foundational services really, that are somehow need to come together. Developer tooling, of course, that is one aspect. Then you have the data plane, which basically is a concept for the totality of our database, data management, and analytics solutions, which need to work together. And in addition to that, also our AI capabilities. And the application plane is basically everything that you can interact with in the end. So the kind of the cockpit that you have, the marketplace, the extension suite services that I just explained. So anything that's very much closer to an application actually, because it allows you to interact with the content of and the context of your applications. So again, it's kind of a different description of how you can see BTP. All of these three planes are basically components of the business technology platform.
Thank you, Florian. Can you provide released business centricity examples? How is this different from S4 core processes?
Mm-hmm. I will try. So of course, you have in S4 and in any other application, you have your core processes, which you will always need, right? But what BTP really wants to offer is also making certain business functionality more repeatable and also applicable to other scenarios. The best example that I always keep hearing is, for example, a currency conversion service that we offer. That is something that you need in many, many different processes, which might somewhere be already built into an application, but it's also something that you might want to extend your application with. So, and by exposing that kind of business-centric functionality, a service that's already solving a very specific business problem, and that you can just easily plug into your application, is something that we want to expose on a more generic level with the BTP. So taking a specific business problems that might already be solved in one specific application and making it more applicable also to other solutions and to maybe even to third-party solutions, that is something that we want to offer with the business technology platform.
Thank you, Florian. Next question from San again, regarding data suite are SAP HANA Cloud, SAP Data Intelligence, Data Warehouse Cloud, Analytics Cloud, all BTP software as a service solutions.
Yes, you can see it this way. So these technologies are part of the BTP umbrella, one has to say, but they are more, you can see them more as applications at the moment. That is indeed true. They have different functionality and they are not really kind of a microservice or something like this. What we will do in the future, so right now, these are more like SaaS solutions. You're absolutely right. That said, they are belonging to our core technology foundation, which is the BTP. What you will see in the future is that we take more and more of these capabilities and carve them out and align them in a meaningful way along the use cases that we are seeing. Not saying that any of these solutions will disappear in the future, right? So don't be alarmed also. All of these solutions will continue to exist. But from a platform perspective, really, is we want to focus more on capabilities and how we bring them together as part of a business-centric platform.
Thank you. Okay, Rohit asked, can you please elaborate on one commercial model?
Yeah, So in the past, of course, we also focused with our technology portfolio a lot of subscription, and now we have put a great focus on consumption-based commercial model. So at the moment, you have two options. You have CPEA, which is an agreement where you can buy cloud credits upfront. So you still have an upfront investment and then consume your cloud credits. And as part of that consumption, you can use any of the BTP services, so to say, until your credits are then in the end all used. What we additionally introduced is pay as you go. So really an offering where you just sign up as a customer or partner, and then based on your capacity, based on API calls that you are making and so on, you are being charged. Yeah. So I'm not sure if all of the BTP services are already available in pay as you go right now. I don't think that is the case, but we are investing to do that and to make all BTP services available also in a pay-as-you-go commercial model. And in addition to that, what we've introduced this year, as I mentioned, also is a free tier. So not only offering trial expertises, but really a free tier where you can work with BTP services in kind of a sandbox environment until a certain capacity that is limited, but also like then translated into productive scenarios and getting into production mode right away with what you've already built.
Thank you. Another question from Rohit was, is Schema Kubernetes variant its future compared to VM-based Cloud Foundry runtime?
Yeah, not sure if I entirely understand the question, but what I can say is that that both runtimes are still supported as part of the BTP. So Kima, as you said, is Kubernetes based. That's right, and we still offer Cloud Foundry runtime as part of the BTP. What you will see in the future is that we are more kind of shifting towards really a unified runtime. Where we want to offer cross-consumption and compatibility between the different runtimes that we are offering. So that is kind of converging in the future.
Thank you, Florian. And Rohit, feel free to raise your hand. We're happy to also unmute you if you would like to expand on your question or add comments. So really happy to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And we are also happy to follow up, of course. Yeah, if I cannot answer the question and if I've not done that correctly, we're more than happy to connect you to the right people.
Good. And then there's another question from Sebastian. Not sure if that's also something that you want to follow up or can address now. I'll read it out. Will pay-as-you-go also be available for partner and ePaaS accounts?
So to my knowledge, it should already be. We should definitely double check, but partners should be able to use pay-as-you-go as well, or make use of pay-as-you-go.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Then those were the questions by the community call attendees so far. Thank you very much, Florian, for jumping in and being able to answer most of the questions. We're also happy to take all of your questions that you might have after this call in the community. So never forget that you can connect with SAP community, raise your question. Maybe there's a question that another community member has already asked and has been answered. So really recommend to check out community.sap.com and going to the BTP community topic page where you can find all latest information on one page, including the Discovery Center, the strategy paper, and so on, as well as a lot of blog posts that have recently been published around BTP, and of course the upcoming big event that you should all be joining, the SAP TechEd conference. If there are no further questions, of course I'm happy to wait a few minutes, then I would say thank you again, everyone, for attending this call, for listening, tuning in, for all of your questions, the great participation, and Florian for being here today with us. And yeah, we hope that the conversations can continue, and hope to see every one of you again in one of the next community calls in the community at SAP TechEd. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, also thank you from my side. And I can only repeat what you said, Menina, the community is so important. So also we build on your feedback, right? A platform is really something that's that lives and breathes through the activity of the community. And so your voice is super important to us. So just continue to contribute, to give your feedback. We're hoping that this brings us forward together, I think.
That was a great ending statement. Thank you, Florian. Thanks, everyone.